Hello everybody. I'm going to give you a little demonstration on how to do prenotes, or what's expected from prenotes, what we do in our VSI classrooms. We'll be doing an example of prenotes in a Calculus 1 course. So listen along and I'll tell you a little bit about prenotes. So let's first talk about why do we do prenotes. Okay, there's reasons why we do prenotes. First reason why we do prenotes is that it kind of sets the foundation for the information that's going to be coming up in the lectures. So it's always good to have a foundation of knowledge before the information is presented in the lectures, so therefore you can start making these connections. The next reason why we do prenotes is that it gives us opportunity to read the text and become familiar with the text. So we know where to go for our resource. If you need to know where an example may be or where content may be located, so that we can go back and be familiar with that textbook and know where our resources are at for the content. And the third reason why we do prenotes, it's the first of 3 opportunities to gain knowledge in the VSI process. Okay? So the first time we get to do this is actually when we read the text. When we read the text, we're getting that content for the first time. The next time we actually watch the lectures, and then we get the information from the instructor. So it's the second time we see the content. And the third time is when we review, do homework, write essays in order to gain that same knowledge in 3 times. So it kind of is a very effective way of reviewing material than trying to push it all right before an exam and trying to read everything and do all your homework and stuff. So if we do it these 3 times, then we know we've seen the content 3 times and we're more likely to be able to retain that information. So that's the reason why we do prenotes. Okay, now it's time to talk about how do we do prenotes. Well, in this example we're going to be doing a Calculus 1 example, and so what I've got right here is a Calculus 1 textbook. Awesome. And what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at section 3.6, the chain rule. And so we're going to be reading this section of the textbook, but we're also going to do our prenotes. And our prenotes is just a very basic outline of the chapter. So we notice that the first thing about this is that it's called 3.1 or 3.6, the chain rule. Okay, so that's going to be the title of this section. So then we go back to our book and we start reading, and then we pull out important stuff from the text. And the first thing we see is first subheadings, derivatives of composition. So we'll make a subheading, derivatives of compositions. Excellent. As we continue through this, we'll read and we'll see some examples. And if we feel that there's very important examples, then we'll write them in our prenotes. Moving on. Oh, we notice right here in a nice big box that we have Theorem 3.61, the chain rule. And that looks like it's fairly important because obviously they put it in a box and highlighted it. So that's information we want to take down. Again, this information will be presented again in our lectures, so we should already have this kind of idea of what the chain rule is before it's actually said in the lectures. And by doing that, we're actually setting a foundation so that that information, when it's presented again, it's a reiteration of the information and we'll be able to retain it a little bit better. And in this way, we'll actually have this opportunity when the lecture comes about to maybe ask questions to clear up what we didn't understand by reading the textbook. Excellent. So we've got the definition of chain rule. We could write out the whole definition. And you notice, I haven't got very far in this. And so as I go through here, I'll be pointing out the examples look nice, but I probably won't put the examples in. An alternative version of chain rule. So I'll put that in. Here is a nice highlighted section of that. We'll move over. We'll read that there's some more information about the chain rules and some examples. Generalized derivative formula. As you notice as you go through this textbook, that our prenotes really isn't going to be very long. It's a very short overview of what the chapter is, a very small outline. And so we're talking maybe 2 to 3 pages of prenotes. And that's all there is to it. So if you have any additional questions, make sure you talk to your facilitator on how to do prenotes.